Hey everyone, today I want to share with you the reasons why we decided to move into a tiny home. I mentioned this in a few videos back and some of you had a lot of questions about it. You wanted to see the journey, how we transitioned from an 1800 square foot home to a 300, less than 300. Somebody corrected me with that. Less than 300 square feet home, and how am I gonna make it work? I mean, I have 4 kids, my husband and I, and we have a couple of dogs. What would motivate me to leave the comfort of this big of a house with each one having their own room and the dogs having their own area inside the house and choose to live in something that is that small, that we're gonna be on top of each other, that those 300 square feet need to fit furniture? And how are we going to spend our winters? How are we going to spend our summers? How am I going to make that work? Why would I decide to do that? That's the best thing to do for my family, or the best way to go. Well, hopefully in this video I'm going to ramble about all the things that it made me decide that I wanted this, that we wanted this with my husband, I should say, not me by myself, but we wanted this. Why we decided that this was the best choice for us, and where did we get this crazy idea of moving from something that is big and comfortable to something that is going to be small and maybe not so comfortable? Why? And I understand that people is going to think that I'm crazy. I'm okay with that. I just feel like you should do whatever makes you happy. So if moving to a tiny home it's what makes you happy, you totally should do it. But if you want to live in New York in a huge I don't know, apartment, and you know that's the lifestyle that you want to live, you should always follow your dreams. And I don't care that I don't agree with you. I think you should follow your dreams. So I just wanted to mention that, because I know I'm gonna get a lot of, you know, people saying that I am going nuts, and that's probably something wrong with me, but I'm okay with that too. We're just gonna have to agree to disagree. Now the main reason why, or the reason why I decided to start looking for an alternative lifestyle was because of my family functioning at the time. I realized that every time we got some time off, we were spending a lot of time on our phones, on our computers, and basically with electronics. And let me tell you, we don't have that much time off. We work, and you know, the kids go to school, they have sports after school, they get home about 5, some of them they have conditioning later, they come at 7, so we don't have that much time. But the time that we had was, we were spending it in a way that something was off. I realized that wasn't working, and I wanted to make a change. I wanted to do something that would help me get to a place where we could go back to enjoy each other's company, to spend more time together and not be so separated. Because I'm not saying that the kids started doing that, but then my husband and I, we were doing the same thing. So I was like, well, it's not a kid thing. I feel it's like a society thing. It's a popular thing. It's what it's out there to do. And I realized, because this wasn't just happening in my family. I was seeing it in my friends' families. I was seeing it in my, you know, some of my relatives' households. I realized that was a trend that was going on, and I didn't like it. I started talking to my husband about it, and we decided that we had to find a different way of living, a different way to spend our time doing other things that would keep us busy, either doing something that we enjoy or something that we have to do, but not so much that we would have to rely on having some kind of screen to be happy or to be entertained. Why would we have to be entertained when we have things that we can do instead, that we can enjoy, you know? And it's okay that if you enjoy your phone, but if it's getting to the point where you're spending your weekends on your phone, or you're spending your weekends on the computer, for me, that's a problem. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you enjoy your time on the computer. Maybe you enjoy your screen time, and I think it's a great tool. I think it's a great idea. That's why I make YouTube videos. But I think that when it gets to a point that you are evading, or you're trying to stay by yourself most of the time, that's when it becomes a problem. And I think that most of us want to do that because we want to watch what we want to watch on YouTube. We don't want to do like, okay, we're gonna watch this that I like but you don't like, or you don't enjoy, so each one of us will have a different videos on our phones or something like that, you know. So I realized that we needed to make a change. And that doesn't mean moving, it means that we needed a change. So then in September we went to a trip 10-day trip to the California coast. Coincidentally, and I want to say that God was there to do that. His purpose was to show me that I could spend 10 days in the California coast with almost no signal on my phone. So we had no internet, we had no phone signal most of the time, and we had a blast. We reconnected with each other. We spent time doing just a fire outside, talking about nonsense, laughing about whatever. The kids started to do some math problems. I don't even know why they were doing math problems, but they had such a fun time. We had more time to be outside with the dogs, take them for walks. You know, it was just, since we didn't have the screen for our free time, we had even more free time. And we were doing stuff that we enjoy even more than being on our screens. And even though the kids missed it, because it's of course something that you're going to miss, it made them see that they could do other things instead of being just on their phones. And again, it's something that I'm not going to change completely, because my kids are older and they are going, especially my two older boys, and they're gonna have to figure it out for themselves, and I understand that. But I want the time that we spend together, you know, that they're still living at home, to be enjoyable and to do stuff together as well, not just being on a screen. So that was a great, I don't know, it was God's way to show me that I needed to do something, and that something needed to be done in a way that we could still do our, you know, alone time where we want to watch videos, but there's so much more, and show the kids that there's so much more that they can do with their lives instead of just being sit by a computer or, you know, playing games or with their phone. Another thing that it made me start this whole journey was that I wanted to move from here, Utah. This is a great state. I love it. I love the people here. I love the I don't know, the community, everything. I've been living here for almost 20 years, so I do love it. But I realized that I started getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and I have a lot of allergy problems. My allergies send me to the hospital, so they are very severe. I have to take a lot of medicine in order to breathe and speak at the same time. I had to stop exercising because of how bad I was feeling. I started to put on weight, and I don't care about, honestly, I don't care about the weight. I care about being healthy. And then my daughter got sick, and then my youngest got sick too, and they're all respiratory problems. And then my second oldest, so just my husband is not having those problems, but he's getting there, I feel like, because of the kind of work he does. And my oldest, same thing. He's not, you know, having respiratory problems, but he's having, you know, the rest of us, we're having a really hard time to be healthy. So we're spending a lot of money in doctors, we're spending a lot of money in medicine, and we are feeling miserable if we are not taking every single medicine that we need to take in the morning and at night. Having said that, even taking the medicine, I yesterday went to a soccer game that it was outside, and I came back and it was, I'm going to be really, it's going to be really hard to breathe for a few days until I get back inside with my filter on and I can breathe pure air inside here. It's not pure, but it's better than being outside. So yesterday while I was at the game, I was crying the entire game, so my eyes were red and they were really swollen. And keep in mind, I didn't have to use my inhaler because I'm taking my medicine every morning and every night, but I still was miserable, and I couldn't enjoy the game as much as I would if I was okay, if I, you know, was healthy enough to enjoy it. I just couldn't concentrate enough. I couldn't see right. I had to wear my glasses, but then I had to wipe all the, you know, the water from my eyes, and then I started to feel this area very dry. Things that are simple, they're silly, but you know, they're the kind of thing that when I went on that trip, 10-day trip to California coast, I wasn't sick at all. So then I started doing a little bit more research, and of course here in Utah we have the inversion during the winter time, and then we have the allergies because of the spring and summer time. And every time the season change, I get really sick. During the spring and summer time, I need to be inside in order to be healthy. If I go outside, if I go for a bike ride, if I go for a hike, or if I try to do something outside, I am really miserable at night. And then at night I can't really breathe, and I have to sit instead of lay down to sleep. I need to be sitting down so I can breathe. Having said all that, I realized that when we started traveling, I realized that it was just because of the area where we live. There's a lot of pollution, everything stays here in the valley, and it's just not working out. So that was another reason why it made me think a little bit more about making a change in the life. I also was born in a beach town, so I miss the beach. And if you live in the States, you know that living by the beach, it's really expensive here. So it was kind of a goal that I had to save money and try to buy something, at least a piece of land or something by the beach, and try to be closer to the ocean. I was born in a very small town with a small beach in the area. So my closet was just tank tops and shorts and flip-flops, and you know, even during the winter time, it was really nice to hear the waves at night. It was, you know, the humidity in the air. I miss it. So I knew that I wanted to move into an area where I could have or be closer to the water. But again, I wasn't going to be as closer to the water as I wanted because of how expensive it is. And my last reason is because I wanted to be more outside. I wanted to, you know, since I'm going to be a little bit more healthy somewhere else, that it's not so heavy polluted like here in the valley, I wanted to be able to do something more outdoor. I had all those ideas. I wanted to be outdoors. I wanted to go on hikes. I wanted to go mountain biking. I wanted to be closer by the ocean. I want to be healthier. I want the kids to spend a little bit more time together. I wanted all those things, create memories at the same time. So all those things led me to tiny living, which it doesn't make sense. I'm sure it doesn't make sense to you, but I started looking up different ways to live or alternative lifestyles. And I run into this community of nomads or people that live on the road. And they don't live on the road because they're forced to live on the road. They're not homeless, but they are people that they take their house with them everywhere they go. So they don't have a specific, you know, land per se where they live, but they move around the United States. They go to Canada, they go to Mexico. They're just traveling around the country, and this is a huge, beautiful country, so more than likely it will take you years to cover just the United States. But a lot of people go to Alaska during the summertime, and I was craving that. I was craving that lifestyle. Fun fact, my family, I just like to think they're nomads as well, or they were anyways before. My grandma on my dad's side, her family was from Italy, and they moved to Brazil. Okay. And you know, because of the war and everything back then, World War II, people were running away from Europe and were trying to find smaller countries where they could live in peace. Then my dad's dad, so my grandpa, his family came from Portugal, and they went again to Brazil, or at least the border with Uruguay, where I'm from. My mom, on my mom's side, again, they were all, you know, from Portugal, and they moved to Brazil, and then they moved to the border to Uruguay, and then, you know, they were kind of moving all over the place. And of course, it was a different time because the war and everything, and it was a peaceful time. I grew up with people from all over the world. I would go to a corner, and there was the Russian grandpa, there was this guy from Spain, this other guy from Portugal, there was this. I lived in an area where all the grandpas were immigrants. So for me, I got to know a lot of things from different countries and cultures and everything because of them telling us stories, and, you know, telling my parents stories, and then my parents telling them to me, especially my dad, who's really curious. But, you know, I grew up in a place where I could hear stories of different places, and I always wanted to travel. I always wanted to do this. I wanted to be in different places. And when all of this started to get together, all my reasons that I mentioned in this video, and then the idea of this channels that gave me that I could do this, I was like, okay, I'm sold, I need to do this. My husband, it took him a while. We are still going to buy a land. We're working on that. We need to close on that this year. We need to finish it, get it done this year, buy the piece of property that we want. But the main reason is because we want to have a home base, you know, an area that it's going to be ours. So if we're tired of traveling or whatever, we can go somewhere we can call home. But the main purpose for me is to have something that is land and it's very simple, so I can park my house there. I can get a travel trailer if I want and park it there. I don't want luxury. I don't want to build a huge house. I just want to buy a piece of property that it's going to be close to the beach, that I've seen I can pay for, you know, that piece of land, and I can wake up to the sound of the beach every morning if I decide to go back home. If I'm with the thing that I want to go travel, then I can go travel, because I'm not going to be tied down to an area where I'm going to have to pay bills, where I'm going to have to pay expensive taxes. It's just a piece of land. Piece of lands in the area that we were looking for sometimes are $100 of taxes a year. So it's not going to be an additional expense, and I'm going to have a place to call home whenever I feel like I want to go home. But the lifestyle of a moving tiny home, for me, it kind of fit everything that I was looking for. I could travel, I can take my house with me so I can save money, I can live a little bit more frugally, so I don't have to go to restaurants and spend my money there. I don't have to go to hotels and spend nights there. If I decide that I want to move today, then I do it. And if the weather is getting really bad, I can move to a different place. If the weather is really nice, I can stay on a few extra days. And the kind of lifestyle that I'm looking for, it doesn't mean that we're gonna be parked in a RV place where you spend $60 a night. No, we're just going to, you know, park in home is going to be whatever we park that night. There's beautiful places in the United States where you can spend the night for free. You can hear the ocean. You can be in a mountain. You can be surrounded by nature, and you don't even have to, you know, spend a lot of money doing that, because of how amazing this country is and how we have a lot of resources to enjoy, to be out there, to go hike, to go explore, to go live our lives. And that is going to require quitting regular jobs and moving on to that lifestyle. So we're going to have to live more simple. We're going to have to be more frugal, because we're going to be living out of my business. So it's going to be less money than, of course, two people working full time. But it's going to be a better way of living, because we're going to be doing what we love while we still work, we still do stuff, but it's not going to be as time consuming as it would be to work. My husband, how he's working right now, that is working very long hours in a job that it's very dangerous and that is very demanding, and that it takes a lot out of him. So I think that working after so many years, and you know, for having everything that we have today, if we can just sell the house, be debt free, and live within our means with our business, then we don't need much more than that. We're set, and we are ready to experience life. If I'm having some kind of health problems in an area, we can move. If there's no internet and we're just getting bored and we just want to Netflix our way, then we can move to an area where we can get internet better, where we can get signal for our internet better. We can spend time together, but when we need time to be apart, we can totally do that. There's going to be a home base where if my older kids want to stay there because, you know, whatever the case may be, they can do that. it's just going to be an adjustment. It's just going to be something different. It's something that I'm not going to give you all the details in this video because it's already 20 minutes long. I will give you the specs of everything, how I'm planning to travel, where I'm planning to travel, where I'm planning to park, what is going to be my budget, when we are going to have less money coming in, and everything. It's going to start to change. The light is kind of weird, but anyways, everything is going to start to change as long as we are working towards that goal, and I'm going to share all that with you. And it's going to change with the months, but it's still going to be something that, you know, it's part of my plans and it's part of what I want to do. So I thought that, I don't know, it would be interesting to see the journey. I'm curious to see on where I'm going to be from a year from now. You know, God willing, I'm still alive. You know, I'm just wondering how it's going to be looking back into this videos. Anyways, it's going to be a journey. I hope that you join me. I hope that you just maybe you're curious to see how this is going to work out. In the meantime, before we buy the land and before we sell the house and before we, you know, do all this transition, I'm going to share with you the lifestyle, because we are practicing on the weekends, and we're practicing in different things, and we're trying to see, because we're just going to live with 40 gallons of water. That's the one that we have in our tank. We're not going to be plugged into water all the time. We're going to have to rely on our batteries for lights, and we're gonna have to rely on our generator if the batteries are really low and we're not traveling. But yeah, I don't know, I just feel like it's going to be something a little bit more primitive. It's going to be different, so it's not going to appeal to everyone, but I hope that you join me in this trip and this adventure, and that maybe you'll find it refreshing, a different lifestyle. Maybe this is something that you don't want to do with your life, but maybe you like to see the struggles and, you know, the things that we achieve and the things that we, I don't know, just, I'm excited. I can't wait for this transition. In the meantime, I'm trying to now we're going to be traveling for Valentine's Day, and that's going to be our, you know, another way that we're trying this lifestyle, and we're seeing what we're needing, because we know we love it. It's not that we're just wondering, oh no, are we gonna love it? No, we know we love it. We've been doing it every single month for a few days, sometimes weeks in a month. So we know we love it, but we're just trying to find the different things that we need, so we have everything ready, or as much as we can, before moving on to the actual lifestyle and then having to do remodels or do anything like that. So okay, I think I covered pretty much everything that I wanted to say for this video. I'm going to do I'm going to do blog style things, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to make sure that I don't clutter the tiny home with you know, stuff, you know, shampoos, I don't know, beauty products, food, and how are we going to provision, and how are we going to shop, so we don't, you know, get our small house with a bunch of stuff all over the place. I want it to be an organized area. I want it to be an organized place, and we always have today. So, you know, it's just, we are going to have to find different ways to make things work. So again, I hope that you join me for this journey, and I hope that you don't think I'm crazy, but if you do, I will understand it, so no worries about that. Thanks again for watching. Please stay tuned for the vlog style videos that I'm going to do about this, and I think I'm going to do another one that it's going to be more related to the specifics of what I want to do, or how I want to plan this thing, and where we're going to travel, how much miles, how many miles we're going to travel a day, and all that details, small details that I'm still planning every single day. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you on my next video.